Hi huns, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Meg, welcome, and if you're returning, then welcome back. So, shock of the century, absolute surprise, I am ill again. No, I'm not ill. I do have a really bad cough, but I'm not ill. So I don't feel ill, but I just sound ill. So sorry about the way I sound. Anyway, today's video is going to be the 20 nuggets, 20 questions challenge, I guess you could call it. Obviously they're vegan nuggets because we don't eat animals here, but I've not tried the Burger King vegan nuggets yet, and I can't believe I haven't, because I've honestly been waiting my whole life for fast food to bring out vegan nuggets. And can we actually applaud Burger King for being the first one to do it, because McDonald's need to take note. I can't throw too much shade because their McPlant burger is insane, but this is how easy it is to create vegan nuggets. Just please do it, McDonald's. So I saw Anastasia Kingsnorth do this video, so I thought I would give it a go. I asked for questions on my Instagram. I assumed, and I was right, every single question is cabin crew related. So this video is going to be 20 nuggets, 20 cabin crew questions, which is fine because I know that that's what you all like anyway. I am in my car because I thought it's just like a nice setting to film like a fast food video in your car. So sorry that it's not my usual setup. The lighting might not be as good, and obviously I'll have cars and things going past behind me, but it's good to mix it up every now and then. I'm absolutely dying to try these nuggets, so I'm just gonna get straight into the video. I won't lie to you, 20 nuggets is quite a lot, isn't it? Like, am I gonna be able to eat 20 nuggets? Silly question, of course I am. I did get some ketchup, but I'm not much of a sauce gal, so whether I will actually use said ketchup is a different story. Ooh, I mean, they look like real nuggets. See if they taste like them. First question is, has being cabin crew changed your life? It seems like such a life-changing job and experience. Before I answer that, I am gonna have a taste of this nugget. They're hot. I mean, I won't lie to you, I haven't eaten chicken nuggets probably since I was about 10, so I couldn't tell you if these actually taste like nuggets or not, but I feel like they do. I think the corn nuggets that you can get that you just cook in the oven taste more like them than these do. Like, I feel like you can sort of tell there's something different about these, but they are very good, so I'm very happy. The only thing is, I've got a sachet of sauce, so I'm gonna have to like put it on the lid and like dip it in that way, because it's not like a proper pot. That's annoying. So has being cabin crew changed my life? Yeah, I would say it has in a way, because when I first left school, I was very indecisive about what I wanted to do with my life. When I first left, I did a hairdressing apprenticeship, and after I got my qualification 2 years later, I realised that I didn't want to do it. I wasn't passionate about it. I didn't enjoy it. And one thing that I've always just wanted out of life is to do a job that I love, and one that I don't really see as work because I love it that much. As a kid, I was very into my performing arts. I was a dancer, and I sang and acted a little bit as well. So when I kind of decided that I didn't want to be a hairdresser anymore, I decided to go back to college and do performing arts, which then led to me going to university and getting a degree in musical theatre and acting for film. So when I first left university when I was 24, obviously I wanted to go into that industry, but it's not a very easy industry to get into. So I always knew that I was going to kind of have to do a job that I don't necessarily want to do, but just one that's flexible so that I could go to auditions and things like that as well. So I just started working in a pub, and I worked in hospitality in general for about 2 years. Probably worth mentioning as well that when I was at college, I did work in multiple different jobs. I worked for my dad as a receptionist for his business, which I didn't really enjoy because I don't really like jobs that involve sitting at a desk. I find it very boring. I was a picker packer at the warehouse where my mum worked. I worked as a housekeeper at a hotel. So I did a multitude of different things, but primarily after I finished uni, I worked in hospitality. Don't get me wrong, I did a few acting jobs, but I didn't have anything concrete. And it got to the point where I was like, this is great, but I don't want to work in a pub for the rest of my life, hoping that I'll get an acting job when I actually might never get anything. So I started looking into other things, and I actually was looking into a estate agency, but I was looking at it, I was like, I don't know if I'll enjoy doing this. Like, I don't know if it's something I'll enjoy doing. And then, basically, somebody that used to work at the pub I worked at was British Airways cabin crew. And I had a conversation with her, and she kind of talked me into it in one conversation, and that was it. I applied to be cabin crew, and how many months later, let's say 8 or 9 months later, I was cabin crew at EasyJet, obviously. And yeah, I absolutely love the job. I can't see myself doing anything else now. It's the kind of job where, as much as you do get like delays, you get rude passengers, but in general, I absolutely love the different destinations. I love working with new people every day. I love meeting new people every day because it's obviously different passengers and different crew every day. I like doing the service, I like doing the boutique, I like doing all of it. So I don't ever see it as like a hard job. Don't get me wrong, it is tiring, it's exhausting sometimes, but I absolutely love it and I can't see myself doing anything else. Nugget number 2. It is good with ketchup. Question number 2. I'm starting my cabin crew training in a few weeks. Can you fly with a head cold? I wouldn't recommend it. I've done it twice and it hurts. It hurts your ears because obviously if your sinuses are blocked, then your ears get blocked when you fly and it causes like a horrid pain. You're actually not supposed to fly with a cold. Like, they even say to you, if you've got a bad cold, don't fly. Actually, my mum flew with a cold when I was a kid when we went to Florida, and she ended up bursting her eardrum and needing an eardrum replacement. So no, don't do it to yourself. It's not worth it. For one, it's very painful, and 2, you could end up doing some serious damage and needing an eardrum replacement. It's one of those jobs that's quite annoying because like I'm the sort of person that I don't ever call in sick. Like, I'll just go into work ill, but with cabin crew I've had to call in sick because I've gone into work with a cold and ended up having so much pain in my ears that I just can't do it the next day. It's just not worth it. I'd be too scared that I would burst my eardrum, especially because I know someone that's done it. Question number 3. Sorry if I'm looking down, by the way, I've got them all written down. Got my supernumeraries next week. Any tips on how to be less nervous? Do you know what? Every single person that's cabin crew is nervous for their supernumerary flight. You'd be weird if you weren't. Like, of course you're going to be nervous. The best advice I can give you to kind of ease the stress of it is be prepared. Obviously, make sure you have absolutely everything you need. Make sure you're on time. Give yourself enough time to kind of get there, find your bearings and do everything that you need to do, because obviously when you get used to your airport and the job and everything, you'll know how long you need to get from your car to the airport, go through security and find your gate. But when you're brand new, you don't know how long that's going to take. So give yourself more time than you think you need to do all of that. The crew there are just so nice. They're so understanding. Everyone was new once at the end of the day. Like, if crew are rude to you because you're new, I don't understand that, because they were new once themselves and I'm sure they felt exactly the same as you did. So no, be nervous. It's a good thing to be nervous. It means you care, but don't stress out about it. You'll be absolutely fine. The cabin crew will help you out. They won't just leave you to your own devices. Ask as many questions as possible, do as many things as possible, do a PA, do the safety demo. Don't be scared of doing anything. The best time to do anything is on your first day, because you get that fear out of the way straight away, and then by the time you go and be a fully fledged member of cabin crew after you've done your supernumeraries, you don't feel as nervous because you've already done it. When I did my supernumerary, I did everything. I did a PA, I did the safety demo, I did the overwing exit brief, I did as much as I possibly could. I used the EPOS, I served, did it all. And when it actually came to my first proper flight as a non-supernumerary cabin crew, of course I was scared still, but I felt more prepared. Question number 4, is the pay reliable or does it change every month due to working less hours? Yes, it does change every month. I mean, obviously, like in the summer, it will be more or less the same every month because you'll be just as busy in June as you are in July, kind of thing. But it does change every month. It's a livable wage, obviously, it has to be. It's illegal for it not to be. But it varies, you know. It could be really low one month because you've barely done any flights, and then the next month it could be really high. I mean, obviously it depends on the airline you work for, but with EasyJet, because of the way we get paid based on sectors and commission, it's never the same amount every month. It's not like a normal job, like an office job, for example, where you literally get paid the same amount every month. Nugget number 5 for question number 5. Your go-to makeup products for work. To be honest, it's hard to tell you because I've pretty much always flown in COVID time, so I've always had to wear a mask, apart from literally when I first started, which I only did a few flights. Right now, my mask, no matter what makeup I use, it always ends up taking some of it off. But generally, I would say, obviously foundation, but I wear quite a lightweight one because I don't like to look caked in makeup. I do my brows. In fact, how my makeup is now is pretty much how I have it for work. I kind of just try to, I keep it natural, but still put effort in, if that makes sense. Like, there are some girls that do like full on eyeshadow looks and fake eyelashes and all that, which looks nice, don't get me wrong, but I can't be asked for that. So the best advice I can give you in terms of makeup is get a decent foundation, a decent concealer, especially if you do earlies and you've got huge bags under your eyes, blusher, mascara. Those are like the general products I'd say. I wouldn't say there's any specific products that I use that I think are good for cabin crew, apart from maybe the Urban Decay all-nighter setting spray, because that is a very good setting spray. It's the best one I've used. But in terms of like my actual makeup products that I use, I just have a preference in general. Like, I don't have any that I would say are good for being cabin crew. Number 6, have you seen anyone famous on board? Yeah, I have actually, and it was literally the other day. So I did a Belfast, and coming back from Belfast to Gatwick, Shane Ritchie gets on board. If you don't know who that is, it's basically Alfie Moon from EastEnders. He was in I'm a Celebrity, not last year's one, but the one before that. The first year that it was in Wales, in the castle, he was on that one. He's also been in like pantomimes, he was on Skins, he's been in a few other things. Flushed Away, that's another thing he was in. Well, was a voice actor in, should I say. He got on and I knew it was him straight away. I literally recognised him and I was like, oh my god, it's Shane Ritchie. Obviously I didn't say like, oh my god, you're Shane Ritchie. I just treated him like a normal passenger, but he was actually sat in the front row and I was at the front, so I was very excited. Got his bag down for him after we landed as well. I was very happy about that. I touched Shane Ritchie's bag. Yeah, he's a really nice guy. He was exactly the same as he is on TV, to be honest, which I was very happy about, because there's nothing worse than when you really like a celebrity and then you meet them and they turn out to be a complete knob. Other than him, I've not had anyone else, although I have walked past Gemma Collins in Gatwick Airport, but I can't stand her, so there was no way I was saying hello. Question number 7, what attracted you to the job of short haul cabin crew? Do you know what, I'll be completely honest with you. When I first decided I wanted to be cabin crew, I wanted to do long haul. I didn't want to do short haul. British Airways was the first airline I ever applied for, because I wanted to do, well, I wanted to do mixed fleet. I wanted to do a bit of both, but mainly long haul. However, I didn't get in with them, which I'm grateful for now, because if I had got in with them, I probably would have lost my job when the pandemic hit. Whereas with EasyJet, I was lucky enough that I kept my job. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love EasyJet as a company, and I do love doing short haul, but I wouldn't be able to tell you what attracted me to the job, because it's not what I originally wanted to do. But the job itself, whether it's short haul or long haul, the thing that attracted me to it was obviously the travel aspect of it, the fact that you get to meet new people every single day, you work with new people every day, because there's nothing worse than when you work in a job and you don't like the people you work with. At least when you're cabin crew, you don't really have that issue, because if you don't like someone, you've only got to put up with them for one day and then you never probably see them again. Obviously there's the downside to that, because if you work with people you love, then you end up not working with them again. But yeah, just like the lifestyle in general, I just love it. I love the fact that I wear a uniform. I've never worked in a job where I wear a uniform, and a recognised uniform as well. I love like going anywhere in my uniform. Like whenever I go in the petrol station in my uniform, I always get asked where I've been or where I'm going. I love the respect that you get as cabin crew. I love the skills that you have to learn, because as much as people think we're just waitresses in the sky, the actual level of skill that you have to be cabin crew, the firefighting, the first aid, learning how to land a plane, not land a plane in an emergency, but evacuate a plane in an emergency, like everything you have to learn. I just feel quite honoured that I work in a job that requires all of that skill. These nuggets are literally so good. Question number 8, do you see yourself as cabin crew in 10 years time? Do you know what, I would love to still be cabin crew in 10 years time, but the one thing I do worry about with this job is, am I going to be able to do it when I've got kids? Maybe when they're at school, yeah, but when I first have kids, am I going to be able to do the job? I don't know. There are plenty of cabin crew that have kids that just work part-time, but I don't know whether I'll be doing it in 10 years time. I hope I am, but obviously when I do choose to have a family, my kids will come first. Question number 9, would you ever consider doing long haul? Yes, I do want to do long haul. That's all I'm saying on that. Also, the person that asked that question put love you at the end of it. That's so cute. I love you too. Question number 10, what do the different roles of cabin crew do? Guys, just a quick one. I answer quite a lot of questions kind of like this one about the job in general and like day-to-day life as cabin crew on my TikTok, which is at @flywithmegs. If you don't follow me on there. I do have a TikTok on there of me answering this question, but I will answer it on here. Obviously I can't speak for all airlines, but at EasyJet we have 3 aircraft. We have 3 aircraft, 319, 320 and 321. On a 319 and a 320 there are 4 cabin crew members. There's cabin manager, cabin crew 2, cabin crew 3 and cabin crew 4. The cabin manager obviously is the manager. Like in any job where you have a manager, they are the manager. They're the person in charge of liaising with the ground staff and the flight deck. They're in charge of passing on all the checks to the flight deck. They're obviously in charge of the crew, making sure the crew are okay, making sure they've done everything correctly. They are in charge of briefing the cabin crew, bit of everything really. They're like the main point of call, should we say. If there's an issue and someone says, can I speak to your manager, it will be your cabin manager. Then you've got cabin crew number 2, who works at the back of the plane. They are essentially in charge of the bars, so they will come in the morning and set up the EPOS, which is basically our little like iPhone that we do all of our sales on, and it's got a card machine attached to it. So they set that up. They are in charge of restocking the bar, so after you've been out and done a service, you come back and your bar's pretty much empty because everyone's bought something. They're in charge of restocking it. They're also in charge of closing the bars at the end of the day, so about 35 minutes before you're due to land back at your base at the end of the day, the number 2 and the cabin manager will close the bars, and the cabin crew number 2 will seal all of them as well. And they're also in charge of passing on the checks from the back. So when the number 2 and 3 do their security checks or on their doors or anything like that, it will be the cabin crew number 2 that passes those checks on to the cabin manager. Cabin crew number 3, who's also at the back with number 2, is essentially in charge of rubbish and toilets. So they do all of the rubbish collections and they restock all of the toilets and check all of the toilets basically. Number 3 is generally the position that everyone jumps for at the briefing. It's usually the one that goes first because it's considered the easy position. So everyone always wants to do number 3. I personally don't. I loved being number 2. But it is quite nice to be number 3 sometimes, especially if you're on like your last day of your block and you've had a hard 4 or 3 days. And then you've got cabin crew number 4, who is at the front with the cabin manager, and they are essentially, number 1, they're the cabin manager's right-hand man or woman. They are in charge of briefing the overwing exits. So you know the people that sit in the emergency exits on a plane always have to be briefed by a cabin crew member, just to let them know they're in the emergency exit, they can't have any bags and all that. That's what number 4 does, and number 4 is also in charge of restocking the bars at the front and sealing the bars at the front. And yeah, they're basically like the person that just helps out the cabin manager. When you're on a 321, there is also a cabin crew number 5, which is kind of like number 4 in that they're in charge of briefing the mid-emergency exits, because there's another set of emergency exits on an A321, and obviously they're on their own. They're the only cabin crew member that sits on their own, and they sit pretty much amongst the passengers, which is really awkward but quite funny as well. Those are the cabin crew roles at EasyJet. At other airlines it's different, like it's different at all airlines. So yeah. Question number 11. What is the salary like for short haul cabin crew? Again, speaking specifically for EasyJet here, our salary is split into 3. So we get a basic monthly pay, which you get paid whether you do any flights or not. So you will always get that basic monthly pay. And then on top of that, we get our sector pay, which is payment per flight. And that ranges from about £10 to £40, dependent on the route. And then you get your commission. So every flight that you do, 10% of all sales on board, food, drink, boutique, duty free, everything, 10% of that is split between the 4 cabin crew members. So if you earned £2,000, you would each get £200 would be split between the 4 of you, so you would each get £50. Good maths, Megan. But like I said, the pay varies dependent on how much you fly. Question number 12. Have you ever worked a flight that someone you know was on? Yes, but not by coincidence. So in December, my mum and my auntie went to Malta for Christmas. So they went on the 22nd and they came back on the 27th. And they were flying from Gatwick with EasyJet. So I requested to work the flight and I got it. You don't always get it, but I was lucky that I did. So I got to work a flight with my mummy and my auntie on, which was really nice. Worked a flight back when I first started, which had my friend's mum on, but I wouldn't have known it was her mum. The only reason I knew is because she heard that I was going to Malaga, so she asked me what flight it was and she said, oh my god, my mum's on that. And then when her mum got on board, she was like, oh, you're Megan, you're Holly's friend. Oh no, someone's parking next to me. Don't do that. Looking at me as well. I really hope he's getting out of his car because that's really awkward. Okay, good, he's getting out of his car. Oh sorry, I just realised I'm holding my water bottle in frame. By the way, do you like my new water bottle? Got it off of Amazon. It's a 2-litre one. I've been trying really hard to drink 2 litres of water every day, and I thought I would find it easier to do if I got an actual 2-litre bottle rather than having a smaller one that I have to keep refilling. And it has actually helped because I kind of set myself that goal that I must finish that bottle before I go to bed at night, and I do manage to do it. So that's very good, and I would recommend that to someone if you struggle to drink 2 litres of water a day. Question number 13. If you could go on only one more holiday in your lifetime, where would it be? God, that's a hard one. It would have to be somewhere exotic, like the Maldives or Bahamas or somewhere in the Caribbean, like somewhere like that. I'm a massive like sunshine girl when it comes to holidays. Like, I love going somewhere with a really nice beach and like somewhere I could go on a really nice boat trip, jet skis, do a lot of sunbathing, do a lot of eating, do a lot of drinking cocktails, obviously go shopping. I'm not really a sightseeing person. Like, don't get me wrong, if I were to go somewhere where there were sights to see, I would go and see them, especially if I went somewhere like New York or somewhere like that. But ultimately I'm like an exotic holiday kind of girl, so it would have to be somewhere like that. Do you know what, I'm still not full. Like, I'm still working my way through these nuggets quite easily. Question number 14, did you meet your current boyfriend as cabin crew? No, I didn't. I did meet my boyfriend at work, but not at EasyJet. So I met Barney when we both worked. Remember I said I worked in a pub when I first left uni? He finished uni at the same time as me. He didn't go to the same uni as me. He did his masters in Oxford Brookes, because he's an architect, and he is from the area where I went to uni originally. So he came back home and started working in a pub because he couldn't get a job in architecture straight away, and I just stayed in Chichester because I didn't want to go home and was working in the same pub. So we met there, and neither of us work there anymore. Obviously he is now working as an architect and I'm obviously now cabin crew. But yeah, we'd already been together when I started at EasyJet. We'd already been together about 1.5 years. So yeah, he's been with me through it all. I've run out of ketchup. I'm gonna have to eat 6 dry nuggets. Question number 15. Would you ever consider learning to fly yourself? No, I couldn't. For one, like I said, I don't like doing jobs that involve sitting down. I get so bored. And I do wonder sometimes, especially on long flights, how flight deck don't get bored. Because at least as cabin crew, when we're on long flights, we're still like, we're in the cabin, there's 3 other crew members and a load more passengers, and you're usually quite busy anyway. Whereas flight deck, they've literally just got each other. And imagine if you worked with someone that was just like not talkative at all. That would be so awkward. And also, I think the job in general just requires quite a high level of intelligence, which I don't have. Even when I go in there, sometimes I look at all the buttons and I think there's just no way I could ever do this job. Good question though. Question number 16. Oh my god, I've got to eat number 15. Has a pilot ever hit on you? Do you know what? No, but I do always kind of talk about my boyfriend. So there has been occasions where I feel like it was going that way, like where a pilot's been very overly chatty with me and overly nice. And some of you may think maybe he's just being nice. No, women know when someone's about to hit on them. Like, trust me on that one. So yeah, there's been occasions where I think it might have happened, but obviously I tend to bring up my boyfriend if I feel like it's going that way. I've got a couple of first officers on Instagram that react to all my stories and like all my pictures, but I have never been hit on. Question number 17. What are the night stop destinations at your airline? Sorry, I said destinations really weirdly then. At the moment, they are Inverness, Aberdeen, I think. Aberdeen or Glasgow, one of them. Milan and Madrid, but apparently we're getting more, but I'm not sure where they are or whether that's even true or whether it's just gossip. Yeah, there's not a massive selection at EasyJet, I won't lie to you, but I don't know if other short haul airlines do night stops. They might do, but I'm sure that we're like, I think we're the only base that does night stops, I want to say. I know Luton don't. I could be wrong actually, maybe Manchester do, I don't know, but yeah, there are destinations that we night stop at. Unfortunately, I would love there to be more, but there's not. So question number 18, would you ever want to be a cabin manager? Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a goal of mine, but I just want to get a bit more experience first. Like, I've only been cabin crew for 2 years currently, and obviously it's been in COVID time, so I've not even flown as much as I should have. So I think I would just want to get a bit more experience. Maybe after like 5 years I would apply to be a cabin manager. Definitely something I want to do, but not yet. Question number 19, have you ever had an emergency situation on board? Yes. A few weeks ago, I did an Antalya right at the end of February, which is Turkey. And we got there. It wasn't a traumatic flight, but there were a few things that happened during the flight. Like, there was a lady that needed a wheelchair to get into the toilet, which isn't traumatic, but it's just like not your everyday kind of thing. There was unfortunately a young guy that had a really bad IBS flare-up, so he spent the whole flight in the toilet and had to go back in there as soon as we landed, and we had to get special assistants to come and get him with a wheelchair, because I was like, there's no way he's going to make it through the airport like walking. And in general, it was just a very busy flight. We didn't really sit down much. Got to Antalya, we disembarked, we cleaned, we boarded, and we were taxiing to the runway to take off from Antalya, and I was at the back. I was number 3, and the number 2 started having this like really bad anxiety attack. Like, I've seen panic attacks, but this was like nothing I'd ever seen before. So immediately I jumped out of my seat, sat next to him, calmed him down, called the cabin manager and said, look, number 2 isn't fit to fly, like he's having a really bad panic attack. So we returned to stand, where medics came on board to see him, and it turns out it was like the beginnings of a heart attack, like a very minor heart attack. So he had to be taken off and go to hospital, and it was then decided by the captain and EasyJet that we as crew, for one, had just experienced something quite traumatic and probably weren't completely with it and fit to operate the flight home. And also, Antalya is quite a long day anyway. It's like a 4.5 hour flight. So we basically decided that we were going to be going out of hours, because we would have had to operate the flight as reduced crew as well. So there would have only been 3 crew members instead of 4. And when you do that, there's a limit on how many passengers you can take. You can only take 50 people per crew member. So we would have only been able to take 150 people, and we had 169. So it also would have meant offloading 19 people, which was just even more stress to the situation. So the captain and EasyJet made the decision to send out a crew from Manchester to come and operate our flight home, and we were going to passenger home with the rest of our passengers. But obviously the flight is quite long, so it was like a 6-hour delay that we were in Antalya for. We did eventually get home. I finished at 1:15 in the morning. I was meant to finish at 6 o'clock. The crew member is fine, by the way. He's home now, he's okay. But yeah, that was probably the one and only emergency situation I've had. Don't get me wrong, it was a stressful day, but I am grateful that I experienced it. I'm quite proud of myself for how I dealt with it, because essentially I was the one that raised the alarm that he wasn't okay, because I was the only one that was at the back with him that actually saw it. And I always said to myself, like, I was always quite nervous for any emergency situation to happen, because I don't know how I'll actually deal with it in this situation. Obviously you're trained for it, but you don't know how you're going to be in if it actually happens. So I'm glad that I got to experience it. I'm not glad that that happened to him, obviously. I'm glad he's okay, but I'm glad that I got the experience, because I now feel like if it were to happen again, I know that I can deal with it. Do you know what I mean? Incredibly thankful that we were still on the ground, because if we were in the air and that happened, it would have been a completely different story. And finally, question number 20. If you were to work for another airline, who would it be and why? There is only one airline that I would leave EasyJet for, and that is British Airways. As I said, that was the first airline that I ever applied for. I just really like their routes. Obviously I do want to do long haul, and they do a little bit of both. But they also do quite a lot of night stop destinations in Europe as well. So you can do short haul, you can do European night stops, you can do long haul with them. They have good pay, like their pay is pretty much on par with EasyJet's. So yeah, definitely if I was going to leave EasyJet, it would be to go to British Airways and do long haul. If I were ever to leave and then want to go back to just doing short haul, I would come straight back to EasyJet, hands down, the best short haul airline. Okay, so that is all of the questions, guys. Oh my god, I'm so happy with those nuggets. Did I need 20? Probably not, but I did eat them, so you know. Burger King are just absolutely slaying it with the vegan and veggie food at the moment. Their halloumi burger's so good, their vegan chicken royale's so good, their vegan nuggets are great. Thank you so much to everybody that sent in questions for this video. If you do want to get involved in future videos where I ask for questions, then make sure that you are following me over on my Instagram, which is at meganrholland_. And if you like this video, then please make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.